another round of applause to Marc.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. So, thank you for having me. Innovation. Yeah. Before I dive into the topic, maybe a little bit about me, who I am. So I'm Marc. I'm Dutch, as you can probably hear. 35 years old, living in The Hague, and I'm not sure if you can tell from here, but I'm pretty tall, and I've been tall since I was 4. And yeah, well, not this tall, but I don't know. This is from my primary school. This is a picture. I don't know if you can pick me out. Yeah. That's me. Yeah. And that's the teacher, right? So I was almost there already. But anyway, I was always creative, as for as long as I can remember, also when I was 4. And I think part of being creative is that you can't really be put into a box, right? I think a lot of people that feel creative, they feel the same way. So yeah, this is everything I sort of identify with, and probably a lot more. Yeah, maybe you recognize some things in yourself as well. But I think what also comes with creativity, at least for me, is that I love innovation. And yeah, then of course, innovation can mean different things for different people. I don't know, yeah, what comes up when you think about innovation? Any ideas?
I always think of science, which is a problem.
Science, yeah. Any other? Technology, yeah. Something new. Yeah, I think all of these are valid. I also have to think like Steve Jobs or something, or like the new iPhone, or Edison inventing the light bulb. Like these big things. That's often what I think about when I think about innovation. But actually, I Googled it, and it's also, smaller things. For example, can be a new idea, method, or device, or just simply the introduction of something new. Still, that doesn't really explain how it happens or when does it happen. And I think when we think about innovation, that's what we all like to know, right? Like, how do I actually innovate? So I thought of my own life and when innovation does happen, and I came up with a graph. So this is the graph of innovation. And yeah, as you can see, there is like an x-axis and a y-axis. And I think the x-axis, we all probably can know what it means. It's time. Time, correct. But do you have any idea about the y-axis? Yes? Motivation, yeah, could be. Inspiration could also be, yeah. For me, it was my state of happiness. And what I realized is that I am most innovative when I'm at my low points, actually. So innovation often happens when I'm down, really. So in this talk, I thought, let me just talk about my personal life and the innovations that I kind of went through between 2014, which is on the left, and 2025, which is on the right. So I'm going to talk about some of them, not all of them, and hopefully that gives you a new perspective on innovation. That's in this talk. So we start in 2014 at graduation. This is me, my parents, my brother, just as tall, actually. Yeah, this was actually when I was still at a pretty high point in my life. It was going down already, and I think part of going down when you graduate is that you just have no clue, right? You don't know what you're going to do. I also didn't have a clue. I studied communication. That's usually what you study when you don't have a clue. So I did know one thing, though. I did know that I wanted to be a creative entrepreneur. And yeah, this can mean many things, but even this, I didn't know what that meant. But there's one piece of advice that once you start researching and Googling online that you always find. I don't know, have you have any idea?
Find your passion.
I think that's pretty similar. This was mine. Let's just do it. Just start, just start doing something and you'll eventually find your passion, perhaps. So I did. I just started. And the way I did that was that at the time, I had a few job interviews. I also had a Swedish girlfriend at the time. I just didn't know, but I thought, let me just move to Sweden and see what happens. So that was my first step. And then when I was in Sweden, I started talking to some people. What could it be? What could it be? And then randomly, I came up with the idea to start making poffertjes for people. Dutch mini pancakes, for those who don't know. I started offering them to some sweets, and they were like, "Oh, this is really good. You should do something with this, you know." So I was like, okay, maybe then a poffertjes restaurant, you know, like my own restaurant for poffertjes. And then you start doing the actual research, and you think like, way too expensive. I'm not going to do that. This is way too high risk. And then I thought, okay, maybe a food truck, because that seems to be popular, especially around 2014. Still, when you look into it, very expensive. So then I thought, you know, what if I combine poffertjes with a bike and create like a poffertjes bike? And that became my first innovation, which is the bikery. You know, so actually, I started designing. I made a website, you know, the bikery, small fluffy pancakes, fresh from a bike. And of course, that was super fun for me to do as a creative, design the website myself. And of course, also design the bike myself. So this was, what I came up with. And if you know me, you know that since I was a kid, blue and orange have been my colors. So of course, blue and orange were the colors here. And then probably you can tell where I had the bike made. Holland, Netherlands. So I had it made here and had it shipped over to Sweden, and this is the actual end result. And then you have a bike, right? But then you still need to turn it into a business. And part of that business is, of course, the poffertjes, the pancakes themselves. So to actually start selling poffertjes, I thought, you know, before I actually go out on the street, let me just have like a sort of a garden party where I actually try this product and see if it works. Well, I could tell you it didn't. It didn't at all, because the poffertjes stuck to the pan. It was just a big mess, and they didn't taste good. I mean, I wasn't happy with what they tasted like. This pan, part of the reason is that it just needs, to be baked in. Like, you need to make it non-sticky. Didn't know that. And the second thing is that actually in the old days, people only made poffertjes with yeast inside. And that makes them not stick to the pan. Actually, it makes them super fluffy. So my second innovation was actually yeast in the batter. And that created the perfect poffertje. They were crispy on the outside, fluffy on the inside, and it didn't stick to the pan. Trial and error, right? Trial and error. So then you have the bike, the venue kind of, and the product. But then I still need to decide, where am I going to be? So I got a license from the city, the municipality, and that actually allowed me to be anywhere in the city. The very best spots, like literally the busiest streets, I could stand with a bike, because a bike is just non-intrusive. They have almost no limitations. So of course, where did I go on my first day? To the busiest street. And it was a complete horror story, I can tell you. Any idea why? Pigeons. Well, that would have been horrible also.
You mentioned it was a busy street.
Yeah.
Then you didn't manage all customers
At the same time?
Yeah, like too many customers. Well, that was definitely part of it, but not for the reason you might think, because actually many friends and family, they came, and they were queuing up, and that's why people thought, okay, I also should queue up. So the queue got bigger and bigger, and I got more nervous and nervous because the pan didn't get hot. So whatever I tried, I couldn't serve a single portion. And okay, then you start thinking, why does this happen? And the more you think, right, every hour goes by, like these people, they're waiting for, like, I should serve them a portion. Well, the problem was wind. the wind got under the pan, and it actually didn't blow up, but it blew like away from the pan, so the pan never got warm. And that led to my third innovation for the bikery, which is like just choose a side street. Yeah, right. So in the end, I found my perfect spot, perfect side street. People started to know me, and the business actually started to run. So this was on a day, it was a good day, but still, once people start queuing up, they queue up more, and actually, I could live from this. So in that sense, it was a success. Also, what a lot of people don't realize, having a mobile kitchen, it's like crazy hard work. Like you need to clean it every day, you need to make the batter every day, especially with yeast, right? I had to make it the night before. Then you have to bike to the location, set everything up, get the pan heated up, and that like day in, day out. Well, you can probably hear what's going to happen. Well, my battery at some point was just empty. I was like totally like near burnout. Fortunately, I stopped early enough, but I think you can see a little bit in this picture how I felt. Just very empty and lost because my first business, it just wasn't what I wanted it to be, and I couldn't continue either. So this was my first low point, actually, about 1.5 years after I started with the bikery. And I was still in Sweden. I was doing a lot of research, like, okay, reading all these self-help books and what next business should I start? And I don't know, probably all of you have read some self-help books, podcasts are very popular now. For me, it just adds more oil to the fire. I just start thinking more, going more inside my head, and just feeling more empty and lost eventually. And I think that also led me to the decision that, okay, it's not going to happen in Sweden. I'm just going to move back to the Netherlands, and I'm going to exchange my apron for a suit, a business suit. So I actually became a businessman, which is a very big departure. And also in Amsterdam, Zuidas, so really the businessman of businessmen, so to speak. And this is what I look like as a businessman. It's almost like an alternate universe, alternate reality. And still when I look at this, I feel like cognitive dissonance, right? It doesn't add up. I didn't just become a businessman. I actually became an innovation consultant. And that's where we kind of come back to the innovation story here as well. And I think it's also interesting for you to then see what it means to be an innovation consultant, right? Just the basics. So actually, a lot of people from the past, they're used to working in waterfall. Waterfall basically means that everybody has their own department. So you have like people with the ideas, the developers, the testers, and eventually at some point, it comes down to the customer. So you actually deliver value. Well, agile working says you put all those people together in one team rather than in different departments, and you create value much faster. So basically like doing small experiments and getting feedback very quickly. So instead of having a 2-year horizon before you deliver value to a customer and get feedback, you actually can have a 2-week horizon before you deliver value and get feedback. And that, of course, creates better products in the end because, every time between one of these like sprints, you get feedback that you can use to improve your product. And that is actually, the current way of looking at innovation, at least in corporate life, I think. But this does have value, of course, for your personal life, and no matter what business you're in, to just think, okay, we put all the expertise together and we just make short experiments, and based on those short experiments, we continue rather than making a 2-year plan. I did take some things from that, but unfortunately, I wasn't creating myself. I was just telling people how to create. So after a couple of weeks, my battery was already empty, but but I still stayed for like a year, and then yeah, it was definitely enough. And I think I was even more empty and lost than after the pancake bike story. And this was actually on a business trip in Portugal, and I think I was just reflecting on my life and just, well, what the heck am I doing here? Because yeah, those people and whatever I was doing, it didn't align. So this was in 2017, and my second low point, I would say. But as you can see, things kind of started looking up. But I knew one thing: I can't stay in the Netherlands. I was just totally done with everything. So I booked a one-way ticket. I don't know if anybody knows where this is.
Monaco.
Indonesia. So I booked a one-way ticket to Bali. And yeah, I brought my laptop. So I became what many people now describe as a digital nomad. My third innovation. And yeah, this is what I look like as a digital nomad. Very different again. And yeah, I mean, I didn't do it for the for the pools or just the travel. I really went there to work and set up a business. And my goal was to learn digital skills to earn money online. Because I was so done with this consultant life, and I just wanted to have something that I could do and not be tied to a pancake bike, not be tied to a freaking office. I just wanted to be able to do whatever I want, anywhere I want. So this was a clear goal. And of course, I now had some ideas on how to do that through agile experiments. And one of these experiments is that when I was a consultant, I learned that they give a lot of trainings. And these trainings look a little bit like this. I don't know, 300 slides per training, that's not uncommon. And those slides look very boring. And of course, this only works for small groups. So if you have to train like a whole organization, you have to do this many times. And I just didn't understand it. I was like, why would you do that? I mean, you can do it online and you can do it way more fun than this. So when I arrived in Bali, one of the first things I did was take my small handheld camera and went to a beach and I filmed my first educational video without even thinking about it. I just went to the beach and I just started building a sandcastle and I thought, this will become something. And yeah, this is what that first video looked like, at least the beginning of it. So Anna.
Welcome to this video that will make you learn how to think agile. My name is Johannes.
And I'm Mark, and today we're going to build a sandcastle to see how agile you are.
A sandcastle might sound trivial, but we think it's the best way to make you learn.
So we prepared a little game for you. It has different options, different possibilities to see what is the more agile road or not. So just play it, see where it goes. But as you can see, it's pretty bad. It's a really bad video. And it took me 3 months to edit. It's really a long time. I was long gone from Bali by the time I finished editing it. But yeah, it's still online. You can actually look this up, like Sandcastle, Agile, play the game. You'll find it on YouTube. You can see how agile you are. But I sent this to some potential clients, and one of those clients was, of course, the consultancy that I used to work for, who also had a training branch. And they looked at this and they said, "That's awesome." And they became my first client, which actually led to my current business, which is Mental Lemonade. So that's like 10 years later, right? I still have this business, which I started all the way back in Bali. And now I don't have just a handheld camera and I don't just go to the beach anymore. But actually, yeah, I make refreshing learning content for big corporations, small businesses, anything related to learning, really, we do, but in a refreshing way. And yeah, this is what the current sets look like. You know, we have like whole teams, and these are professional actors even, and we have like scenarios with time travel or James Bond. It really goes to some crazy lengths, and this is what it then looks like in the end result. Can look like in the end result, and yeah, as you can see, we built an entire set with actors, and it's just super fun to do because I can also get really into my role as a creative. But yeah, you know, when you hear this, maybe you think like, oh, cool. So he found his overnight success. He found his final innovation that worked. Not exactly. You know, like I think at this point, you know, the sandcastle was here, right? That was back in 2017. Then I still had some pretty tough ups and downs. And then I think 5 years later is when I had the first like big production that I didn't fully host myself. And then it didn't just go from, okay, now we have the sandcastle, now we have Mental Lemonade, but there were many companies and brands and partners in between. Like first it was called Rodan Creative, then it was called Ninjafy.me, had a business partner. Then in the middle, I started a community, entrepreneurship community, which I hosted for 3 years or something, and still some people from crew are here, which is awesome, awesome. Online Academy Bouw, I thought, well, maybe it works better in Dutch. It didn't. and yeah, eventually Mental Lemonade, and you know, I'm happy now, of course, still ups and downs, but definitely not an overnight success. And you know, when I look back at this, there are a lot of things that I can take away from a business sense. But I can also say that every innovation taught me something valuable about myself. And I think if we look at those battery icons that I put throughout the presentation, you saw that I learned that operations, sales, consulting, research, marketing, analysis, that's definitely not me. I mean, I can do that for a while, sure. I do it sometimes now for my business, but if it's the only thing I do, my battery is empty. What I do love is working on creative concepts, writing scripts, making videos. So this is definitely my thing. And then at the end of the day, I don't just sit down and feel like I have to watch Netflix as that's the only thing I can do. But no, I actually have energy for more things, for social things, for other stuff in my life. So that's about me. But then maybe you're also thinking about your own life and what you can take away from all of this. Well, for that, I want to go back to that definition of innovation that I shared at the beginning of my talk. Right? So innovation is a new idea, method, or device, or the introduction of something new. But that, as we said, it's mainly focused on the what, but not the how. So I want to expand this definition a little bit based on my own experiences. And I think for me, the third point for myself is that innovation starts from your personal life and your willingness to try new things. So yeah, if you just feel like, okay, I'm down now, or I don't have inspiration, if you're willing to try something new, whatever it is, even if you go like to a meetup event, or you just get out of the door and you do a walk that you never made, anything can bring you inspiration. And that's, I think, where it starts. Innovation often happens when you're down. I think I illustrated that. And yeah, it doesn't have to change everyone's world, but each innovation can change yours. Because yeah, I think innovation is often looked at as like these Steve Jobs kind of novelties or things that have to have a big impact on all your customers or worldwide. But actually innovation can be super small. And one thing I think that illustrates that, just to kind of close off my talk, is that this is a book series. And I think 4 years ago, I felt like, okay, I'm just too much behind my laptop. I need to get out and I just need to work out. And the most logical thing for me seemed back then to do fitness, because I don't like to be tied to set hours or times. I just want to be able to go whenever I want to go. Problem with fitness is that it's boring as heck, right? I just didn't want to go. But then I thought, well, maybe I can try listening to podcasts while I do fitness, or to self-help books. Well, as I said earlier in my talk, that just puts my brain to work, and it's oil for the fire. It just, in the end, I'm only in my head, and it definitely doesn't want to make me go for fitness more. Then I made the switch to very long fantasy books, and that worked like a charm. 4 years later, I'm still going for fitness several times a week, and I'm always excited to listen more to my current book. So the current series I'm listening to is actually massive. It's like it's 5 books, and each book is like 70 hours or something. It's massive, but it's awesome. And there's one quote from one of these books that kind of ties back to innovation and what we just talked about, and I just want to leave you with that quote. So, the most important step a man can take is not the first one, is it? It's the next one. Always the next one. And with that, I thank you for listening. Oh yeah, and if you ever want to feel like, you want to work with me, or your potential partner or freelancer, please get in touch. Would be awesome to work with more people from the community. Thanks.
Thank you so much. No, you stay.
Oh yeah.
Guys, yeah. Right now we have some time for our Q&A with Marc. If anyone has questions for Marc, please raise your hand. Yeah.
My attention really went also on your slide with the energies, batteries. What give you energy and what took away your energy. And this, roller coaster. So when you were, I know you said that it was innovative moment when you were down, but then battery also went quite down. So how did you shift it that you went again to the green area?
Right, that's not easy. At least it's not easy for me.
What's your story?
So I think when you're really down and you really have no energy, like for example, the worst was probably when I was a consultant, and I came down every night and it was pretty late and I really couldn't do anything. And I remember I wanted to do something, but then in the end, I wrote everything on a sticky note, like I should do this, I should do that. And literally in the end, my house was like one giant sticky note. They were on the walls, on the tables, they were everywhere, literally. So this didn't help me, for sure. But at that time, I didn't know it. So I felt like the only way to move forward is by making a drastic change. I just felt totally stuck in the Netherlands. So my drastic change was to move to become a digital nomad and book a one-way ticket. Over the years, I think I learned to notice this pattern more quickly when I'm very much in my head and I'm just writing down everything, and I'm not really getting a step forward, I'm just spinning. And now I think the best thing I can do is move. So whenever I go out for fitness or something physical, I almost always feel better and I feel more energy to do something else. But also just, just say like, okay, these thoughts can wait. I'm just going to do something completely different. And I think the sooner you notice that you're just totally in lethargic, stuck mode, and you can actually realize that, and then you just do something out of what you would normally do, that's when the wheel starts moving again. innovation, yeah. But it's not, I mean, it took definitely a lot of years for me to get better at it, and I would still not say I'm the best at it, but it's a continuous journey, I would say. Yeah. Yes?
So I have also lived in Sweden for 4 years. Do you feel like it's a culture that actually helped you embrace your creative side and do things? Or it kind of felt a little bit like people around you, and especially the family of your girlfriend, who I suppose they were Swedes, were kind of like holding back a little bit because they are not the most open-minded, free-spirited. Because they have like a whole lagom, jättelang, and like
Yeah.
normal, but their own style that's even more.
I mean, I definitely get where you're coming from. I felt very much the same in Sweden. There's like, the Swedes seem at first very open, but there's definitely a lot of things they're not as direct as Dutch people. So you feel like there's things going on behind the surface or below the surface that you would like to know, but they will never going to tell you, right? And yeah, so in that sense, it was a little bit difficult. And my experience with the Swedes was definitely that I missed that. So I felt that I couldn't really form a connection. Also because they just constantly kept switching back to Swedish and they would never speak English with me. So that led me to feeling very lonely and not really being able to connect with the culture. And I think eventually that also didn't help my entrepreneurial journey. That being said, I don't want to generalize that the Swedes are just not being able to connect, because there are also great international communities that I got involved in there, which really helped me connect with people. And also I think my experience is just one experience, and I really am not sure if this would be all over Sweden. So yeah, I actually, when I started the pancake business, I generally felt very encouraged by them, and everyone came by to the bike, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we hope it's going well for you." So yeah.
So you didn't feel judged? That's more my question.
I didn't feel judged, no. No, I felt more judged on the fact that I didn't speak Swedish, but not on that I tried something as an entrepreneur, yeah.
We have time for one more question. Thank you, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if, I mean, I watched your first video, and I've done photography for a very long time, but my sense of perfectionism immediately kicks in when I'm thinking like, oh, I want to become a videographer, because so how and like with the poffertjes, I would think like, oh, I can't do that, because you know immediately it seemed like if you don't really know what you're doing, it's sometimes easier to just get started. How do you deal with, or did you have any of these internal judgments or voices that said, oh, you first need to know this before you can do it, or did you just step in?
I think these voices came more later for me. I think now I have them more, but back then I think I was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna do this, you know, no matter what, I'm gonna make this a success. So I was really focused, I think, on making it a success. But now I would say that the fastest way to learn is, yeah, you know, you have this example of baking a lot of pots, and if you focus all your energy on just making the one perfect pot, it's never gonna be a great one. But if you just make many and you just make 100, then the 100 one is probably better than if you just kept focusing on the first one. So.
And when is it about getting the right one, and when is it just about baking? Because that's what I'm also thinking. Why does it always have to be new? And when did you? I don't know. You know, there's also something to be said about, oh, let's go back to the process and really look at the process instead of thinking like, hey, we need to do something new, otherwise we'll get burned out. Because I've been in that roller coaster for all my life, and I'm thinking like, oh, how come I'm always looking for something new when you can also look for more growth and more and also more of yourself in the things that you've done. But this is not judgmental, it's just sort of a, yeah.
No, for sure, I totally get it. And I think also what helped me in the end is focus more on one thing. And all the experiments that I was doing, you know, like those agile experiments, they can sometimes be super small. Like, it's just about getting feedback from yourself internally, and from customers, right? So I think, yeah, if you just keep trying things, sometimes you just learn like, okay, maybe when the customer is feeling a bit agitated, we should just have a meeting. Like we just call them and see how they're feeling and focus on their feelings rather than, no, this process, you know, like these are also just tiny things you learn. But I think indeed a lot of people have this feeling like, okay, this is not working, so I should switch to something completely different. But that's definitely not what I'm advocating here. I think it's just about listening to yourself, listening to your battery. And if you feel like the battery is not empty, then you're probably in a pretty decent spot, right? But you'll really be able to tell when you're empty. That's pretty clear. I hope, I mean, everybody's journey is different in this sense, but I think just keep on going. Like my journey is also not over. I also just keep trying, and yeah, always a new experiment to try.
Thank you for your questions. Thank you again, Marc.